Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today's video. I have been wanting to film this video for so long, and that is a how I edit video. When I first started editing videos, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. My first couple of videos took me hours to make because I had to search up each and every technique that I wanted to do with my videos. And I watched a ton of how I edit videos too, but some of them didn't really have all the things I was looking for, and it's very complicated and a long process. And so I wanted to make an ultimate complete how I edit video. Obviously I'm not going to have everything in this video, like every single technique, but I'm basically just going to show you everything that I wish I knew from the start. That way your videos can look as best as they can from the beginning. Without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright, so starting off with prepping and planning. This is very important for videos. You want to know what you're going to be talking about, obviously, in your videos, so that you're not saying a bunch of ums and uhs. It's going to make your editing life easier. It's going to make your videos look better when you know what you're talking about. And when you know what you're talking about, you can talk about it more confidently, if that makes sense, if I worded that right. So basically what I do for prep and planning my videos is not a whole lot. I actually bought a notebook for YouTube, but honestly, I have no clue where that went. I think I wrote in it like once maybe, but now I just use my phone. I just have a notes tab that has all of my video ideas, and then right below that is when I actually go into more detail about that specific video. So if that's the one I'm going to be filming, then I'll just usually highlight the points I want to talk about. I'm not obviously going to write everything out that I'm going to say, just like the main topics. If there is like one specific thing I want to say, then I will put that like in my notes so I won't forget, because I have the world's worst memory. I feel like with a general outline for your videos, it's going to be a lot easier and smoother to talk about them and go from point to point, rather than, you know, just trying to remember them or like not really even thinking about it until you just start filming. Obviously it's probably not the best idea to just like start recording, but yeah, other than that, that's kind of all I do for prep and planning. Everybody does it differently. I think that's the easiest. All right, so moving into kind of the equipments and apps I use for editing, I'm gonna start off with my camera. I just recently got a camera, and it's like the most basic YouTube vlogging camera. It's the Canon G7X Mark II, but you definitely don't need a camera to start a YouTube channel or to film videos. So many people do it on their phone. I recently just got this, and before that I just used my phone. If you are using your phone, just try and use the back camera. Your front camera just doesn't have that great of quality, and when you're on the back camera you can actually turn up the quality if you go into your settings on your phone, which is super nice. Just know that the higher you go, the more storage it's going to take up. I didn't know that at first, so I just went with the highest one, and it like took up all of my iPhone storage. But yeah, you definitely don't need a camera. If you do want to get a camera, I suggest getting a used one, especially if you're relatively new to YouTube. I just think it's the best idea to not, you know, invest all this money into one thing. It could be YouTube or like any other hobby for that matter, because you don't really know if you're gonna stick with it or if you're really gonna like it. So a couple other things I use is obviously iMovie is the editing software I use. It just comes on my MacBook, and then I use my MacBook, but you can use like an iPad, an iMac. You can use your phone if you want to use iMovie. I have never personally done that. It seems super complicated. It's not impossible. So if all you have is your phone to like record and edit, you can do it. There's a lot of accounts that do that. I just personally think it's a little bit harder, but if that's all you got, you can definitely make it work. Now for apps, you can find all of these on the App Store. I use Fonto, Pixar, and Visco. Fonto and Pixar I use for like multiple things, mostly like thumbnails and then like overlays and stuff, which I'll get into later. And then Visco I use to put filters on my videos, which I'll also show you how to do later. It is $20 a year, I believe, but it's really not that expensive, and I think it makes a really big difference. All right, so moving into like the basic editing effects on iMovie, the first one is the Ken Burns effect, and that's just when like the screen moves in closer or like can go out. You can do either on iMovie. It's super, super easy. All you want to do is select the clip that you want to zoom in and then click on it. Then you want to go up to the top and click on that little like crosshatch icon thing, and instead of it being fit, just hit Ken Burns. It's going to give you just like the automatic setting, which is fine, but you can also zoom it in more if you want it to go faster, if you want it to go closer, and all you need to do is just hit the bottom left corner so that the end screen is highlighted, and then just drag it in. You'll see that the little yellow arrow is pointing like upwards or like wherever you drag it in from, and that's just the direction it's going to be going. So if you do want it to go in a particular direction, you can mess with the end screen, put it in different places so that the screen moves in and not just in the middle. If you do want it in the middle, just make sure those two little like X's or like cross marks line up, and then it will just like zoom in the middle of your face. Now, something I like doing with Ken Burns, if I'm like comparing something or kind of like if it just fits and works with whatever I'm using, is basically going in and then going right back out. Basically all I do is I select one clip and I put the Ken Burns effects, just like the automatic one, and then the next clip over I do the same thing, but I just hit the little arrows at the top next to Ken Burns. That way the start and end screen are flipped, so instead of it like starting really wide, it'll start small and move backwards. So like in total it'll go like in and then out. But yeah, I really like how that looks, and it's super easy. But moving on to the next effect, this is the crop to fill effect. This is just when the screen just kind of like jumps in all of a sudden. It's super easy, one of like the most basic editing skills. All you need to do is select the clip that you want to go in, go up to the top, and instead of hitting fit, just hit crop to fill, and then you can kind of adjust that screen to like be wherever you want it to be. So like the Ken Burns, you can put it like wherever you want, or if you just want it in the middle, you can actually match up those two yellow lines that iMovie has so you know where the exact middle is. But yeah, that's super easy. And then the last editing effect, I like to call the Emma Chamberlain effect. I have absolutely no clue what it's actually called, but I just saw it in her videos, and like that's why I looked it up how to do it. It's basically just when the screen like moves with something. That's what that is. It's super easy. It might seem a little complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's super quick. I'm gonna try and explain it as best as I can. I don't know the exact terminology for everything, but here we go. Basically, you just want to select the clip that you want to use that with. This is a bad example of clips I'm using, but this is kind of all I had. All you want to do is copy and paste that clip right next to each other and then drag it above the same clip. And then you want to turn the volume down of that top clip, otherwise it's going to be like twice as loud for when it plays over that clip. And then you just want to have that top clip selected and go up to those same icons, and instead of hitting cutaway, hit picture in picture, and then it's going to pop up on the screen. And from here you want to zoom in to where you want the camera to kind of jump to when it's following whatever you want it to follow. And you also want to make sure that that top clip is covering the bottom clip fully when you drag it out. Otherwise, you're going to see that when you're done editing the clip. But from there, you just want to hit that little diamond on the left side. And this is basically going to allow you to switch the angle of the screen frame by frame. I think I said that right. And so basically you just want to drag it and then hit an arrow key. That's going to bring you forward one frame. If you do that and just move it frame by frame, it's going to look a little weird and it's going to move a little too fast. So I usually do like 3 or 4 frames at a time before I drag the screen over again. If you watch it, I think it'll make sense. And then afterwards, just make sure you don't have like a fade in or dissolve effect, and you can just drag those 2 little circles outwards, or you can go up to the top and instead of it being 0.5, just highlight it and hit it to 0. And this was like not the best example because my hand wasn't moving that much, but you can kind of see how the camera like moves with the hand, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's definitely a lot more steps to that one, but I think it's a lot cooler and it makes you look like you know what you're doing with your editing. All right, now moving into like green screen effects and sound effects. Let me tell you, green screen effects just like kind of blew my mind when I found out what they were. I had no clue they were a thing. I thought you could only do it if you had like really good editing software and like not using iMovie, but it's super easy. If you ever see like the glitchy stars or like the little camcorder effect or like the vintage green, any of those are all green screen effects and they're all super easy to do. For this example, I'm going to be showing you the glitchy stars one. It's as easy as typing in glitch stars green screen effect into YouTube, and that's about it. But basically you can type in whatever you want and then just put green screen effect afterwards and then find whichever one you want. Click on the video and then you want to copy the URL and open up YouTube to MP3. I use this one, YT MP3, and instead of having on MP3, just hit the MP4 button, which is for like movies and not just audio. Then you want to paste it into there, convert it, and then download it to your computer. I always have like this, like my Google screen on top of my iMovie screen, so once it's downloaded, I can just drag it over. And then once I drag it to whatever clip I want, all you want to do is select it and then go up to the top, and instead of having cutaway, just go down to green and blue screen and then hit that and you are good to go. It's super easy. Anything like subscribe buttons where like the mouse like clicks on subscribe, that's a green screen effect. There's like a ton. There are literally a million. I'm also gonna be talking about transitions in a minute, which is also some green screen effects that I'll show you. But for now, I'm gonna move into sound effects. It's pretty similar. All you really need to do is go into YouTube and find whatever sound effect you want. So for this, I did like a slurp sound effect. So I just put in slurp sound effect. And then once I found one I liked, I just copied the URL and I pasted it into that same website, YT to MP3. And then I just made sure it was on MP3. And I basically did the same exact thing that I did with the green screen. So once I convert it and download it to my computer, I just drag it over and drag it straight onto iMovie to whatever clip I want. And that's about it. You don't need to do anything other than that. The sound will automatically play and it's super, super easy, and it can make your videos a lot more entertaining and fun to watch. So I highly recommend using sound effects. iMovie has a bunch, but I don't use a whole lot of them. The only one I would use is like the golf swing one, which I sometimes use for like my Instagram handle. But other than that, I usually just look them up on YouTube. But you can just find whichever ones you like, and it's as easy as that. All right, so moving into transitions, I'm just kind of gonna show you an example of a transition I've used, because there's a million out there, but I kind of combined like an iMovie transition with a green screen effect to make it more like my own transition. So for this one, I'm using this bubbles transition that you see like in SpongeBob. I didn't re-download it in this video. I kind of just dragged it from up top, but if you download it, just drag it onto whatever clip. I normally put it in between the two clips I'm like separating a transition from. This is a bad example because the clips are supposed to go together, but basically all I do is I drag it over and then I click green screen on it, and then I actually went up to the cross blur and put it in between the two clips. And then instead of having it on 1 second, I put it to half a second. You can put it like as low as you want. I think, actually, I don't think you could put it to 0.1 second. I think it has to be 0.2 or above. But when it gets too low, it kind of just like glitches over it. If I ever use an iMovie transition, I usually keep it at 0.5. But yeah, again, there's a bunch of them. I also use like this arrow click one, which I'm not gonna show you because you could just use the same type of thing and apply it with that. You can look up a bunch of them on YouTube. You can just look up YouTube video transition green screens and a million will pop up. But yeah, super, super easy, and it makes your videos look a lot better. So next is getting music for your videos. Again, it's super, super easy. I'm using the same video converter. It's Y2 to MP3. I use it for everything. So for my music, it's super simple. All I do is find it on YouTube. The most important thing you want to know is that you want to get copyright-free music. Otherwise, you will get a copyright strike when your video is uploaded. So all I do is type in copyright-free music in YouTube, and usually I put in like some type of adjective in between free and music. So most of the time I type in copyright-free aesthetic music. I just like how most of those songs sound in the background. You can look up copyright-free background music. You can look up copyright-free workout music if you have like a workout channel or whatever channel you have. There are thousands of songs out there that you can use, and I just do the same thing with the sound effect. I find whichever one I like. I open up Y2 to MP3. I copy and paste the URL, convert it, download it, you got it, drag it onto iMovie. You know the whole story. Now, something I do want to mention is that just because it says copyright free doesn't mean it's always going to be copyright free. People are copywriting their music every single day, especially if the video is old. You really don't know if you can trust it that well. But one thing I really like to do is when I'm uploading a video to YouTube, I upload it privately instead of publicly at first, because both will show you if you have a copyright claim. I think it's a lot easier when you find out when it's on private, but basically if you did get a copyright claim, you would see it under restrictions. So right here it says none, but I actually did have a copyright claim. I'm not sure on this video or maybe my last one, but if you do, you can click on it and it'll just basically tell you to like take the music out, or you can like replace it. I didn't like any single song that I found on like the YouTube library, so I just took it out. But that's just something to know. I was very confused when I would hear YouTubers talk about copyright claims. I didn't know like how I would find out if I had one. It's just in your YouTube studio right under the restrictions. All right, so next is getting overlays. Overlays are basically just words on the screen like this. Super, super easy. I use the app Fonto. It's free on the App Store. Once you download it, all you need to do is open up plain image. I select white, and then I just choose green because we're gonna use it as like a green screen. Also, I'm looking at it on my phone, by the way. And then you want to change the size to 1280 by 720. That's the standard size for like anything to do with YouTube. Well, not all of it, but you know, for like thumbnails and for like the size of your videos, it's 1280 by 720. And then from there, all you need to do is add whatever text you want. So for this, I'm just putting SDSU Greek life. And then once you have that, you can kind of just change it however you like. There's a bunch of different options. You can curve your text, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. If you click on style, you can add like a little border around it. You can add like that little faded out background kind of. So whenever I usually have like overlays on like my videos, I won't usually do anything to like the stroke stroke or style or background or anything. I'll just keep it plain white. I'll go more into it on my thumbnails. I do like a specific style on my thumbnails, but for that, that's all you need to do. And then you just want to save it and then airdrop it to your computer. For popular fonts, the one I'm going to be showing you is Keep on Truckin'. It's like that really popular one that a bunch of people use. It doesn't actually come on Fonto, but it's super easy to get. I already have it, so I'm just making an example of a different one. But basically all you want to do is go over to My Fonts and then click on how to install fonts, and then it'll basically show you how to do it. But you want to go to a site, defont.com, and once you go to that, all you have to do is look up whatever font you want. They've got different kinds. As you can see, they have like different themed ones. If you want that particular one, again, it's called Keep on Truckin', but I just hit like, I think I hit like curly, just to like give an example, and then pick out whichever one you want, hit download, and then once you download it, you want to hit that little arrow on your phone. So once you go up to that, you want to click on it, and then you want to select it and basically import it to Fonto. So if you hit that little like download button and then you go all the way down, you want to hit more and then find Fonto. And then once you hit copy to Fonto, it'll switch you back over to the Fonto app, and then you just hit install, and then it's in your My Fonts tab, not the plain fonts tab, but the My Fonts tab. You know, there's a difference. Again, that was a mouthful. I feel like I have been talking so fast in this video. Super, super easy. You can look through all of those fonts on DaFont and install as many as you want on the app. All right, so now I'm going to be showing you my thumbnails and filtering my videos. For filtering my videos, like I said earlier, I open up Visco, and once you have your video downloaded and complete, just airdrop it to your phone. That way it's saved in your phone, because you can only do it on your phone. How many times can I say the word phone? But anyways, once you open up Visco, all you need to do is hit the little add plus symbol and then switch over to videos, and you should be able to find your video on it. I actually have the filter I use saved. That way I can just hit the little bottom button and it'll automatically do it, so I don't need to really adjust the exposure and click the filter all over again. So I basically just use C7 chromatic at 0.35. I'll normally tone it down a little bit depending on the exposure of the video, and then other than that, I will mess with like the white balance temperature and usually put it down to like 0.4 maybe. Other than that, I just kind of mess with the saturation a little bit, but you can kind of do your own thing and choose whichever you like. Once you have the filter you like on your video, all you need to do is save it to your camera roll. This part does take a little bit of time, so just keep the app open. If your phone is on low power mode, make sure you like plug it in or take it off low power mode, or like save power mode or whatever it's called. Otherwise, the app might like shut down and you're gonna have to re-download it all over again, which I've done multiple times and it sucks. And then once you do that, it's gonna save to your camera roll, and you just need to airdrop it back to your computer and then upload that to your YouTube studio. I honestly think it makes my videos look so much better and so much more high quality. It may not seem like it does a huge difference. This is how it is normally, and then this is how it is with my filter on it. So now for thumbnails, I'm gonna show you two different types I do. One, I'm gonna show you just like the basic one I always do with like a little curved text. That's using Fonto. And the other one is when I have like pictures of me behind me. I've only done it once for one of my thumbnails for my Zapple try-on haul. But starting with just the most basic one, I'm going to open up Fonto and then just go to plain image and hit that white image. You can hit whatever you want, but plain image, and then change the size to 1280 by 720. And then from here, you just want to hit use, and then you want to hit like the little 3 bars in the left corner and hit add image. And then you want to select whatever image you want to use as your thumbnail. So for instance, let's say I'm using this photo. Then you just want to import it and then make it the same size as that image. That way it's 1280 by 720 and you don't need to guess. And then from there, you just want to hit add text and put whatever text you want. I'm just going to show you like I did my last one, SDSU Greek Life. And then I just hit font. The font I usually use on my thumbnails, it's called Helvetica New Bold Italic. So basically I will just have that, and then I'll hit style and go over to stroke and turn the alpha all the way up, and I'll usually increase the width to 5. Then I go to style and I hit the third AA. I kind of just put the alpha all the way up, and then I'll turn the blur up until I kind of like how it looks. It's usually somewhere in between like 0.4 and 0.5. You can mess with the X and Y if you want it to go like further back or forward or whatever you want, but I normally keep it on like the left side. And then from there, I usually like to curve it, so I'll just swipe over and hit curve. And this particular one, I did like this kind of curve, and then I went back over and I hit tilt, and I tilted it a little bit, and then you can kind of just move it around and mess with it and then add whatever you like. But other than that, that's kind of all I do. And then all you need to do is just go over here. You can either immediately airdrop, but I usually like to just have a copy in case something happens, and then you can just upload it straight to YouTube, and that's basically it. The other type of thumbnail, I use PixArt. I still go into Fonto and I do the same part as the beginning where I just make sure it's a 1280 by 720 picture, and then from there I download that like plain picture. It usually has like a filter on it that I use from like Lightroom, and then once it's the right size, I download just like that plain picture and will upload that to PixArt. So once I open up PixArt, I just hit the little plus symbol, and then I will find that one. I'm using the same picture just like to make it easy, and then from there all you need to do is scroll over and hit add picture. I'm using that same picture, but I'm going to use like the swimsuit background just because like that's what I did in the video. But all you need to do is select whatever picture you want, and then it's just going to pop up. From here I kind of size it however big I want it. You can make it bigger than the actual screen. So like for this one, I think I made it a little bit bigger. As you can see, like it wouldn't actually fit in the screen. And now from there, I actually turned down the opacity so that way I can see where like the main picture of me is. I'll usually turn it down quite a bit, and then I will go into the eraser tool up at top, and then I kind of just erase everything until all that's left is that picture of me. Again, I'm doing this like super fast. This actually took me like quite a long time, but it definitely makes your pictures look really, really good. Let's see how bad this looks. If I were to turn the opacity back up, this is, oh dear Lord. So then if I were to turn the opacity back up, this is what it would look like. Obviously, I would spend more time doing this, but for now, that's basically all you need to do. If you just do that and you take your time, it'll be perfectly fine. In order to get the little white line on the outside, you don't need like a stylus or anything. It's actually super easy. All you need to do is hit the draw option. You can actually just zoom in on your actual phone and do it from there. You can zoom in as much as you want until you get like just how you want it. Again, I'm doing this super fast. If you spend enough time on it, it will look really good. And when you zoom it out, you can't really tell places you mess up. So it doesn't need to be like absolutely perfect. But for instance, okay, that looks really bad, but you guys know what I'm saying. If you spend more time on it, it will look better. This is how you do it, and it's super, super easy. It just takes time to do. From there, all you need to do is hit apply. Once you're done, you just download the picture and then airdrop to your computer, and then do the same thing where you upload it to the thumbnail when you're on your YouTube studio, and that's basically it. All right, so next is intros and outros. Intros are, actually both are really easy, but intros are like incredibly easy. It's actually kind of like a cheat method, and so all you need to do is look up intros on YouTube. I looked up aesthetic intros, and then you just find one that you want, and you do the same thing as you would a green screen effect or sound effect. You just download it using the YT to MP3. Make sure it's on MP4 so you get the actual video, and then most of the time you just need to add like your name to it. So all I did for that was just use Fonto and do like my own little green screen effect. Most of the time people usually just want credit in the description, and so that's what I do. The girl I got mine from, her name is Annie Long. She's actually really funny. I think she's like literally 14 years old, and I'm like already jealous of her. And you'll see like in my description box, I will always give credit. But that is intros, super, super easy, and there are like a bunch of them on YouTube. Now for outros, those are a little bit more like customizable. I use Fonto for that. I'm not gonna show like a video of me doing it, but basically you just do the same thing where you have a plain image and then make sure it's 1280 by 720. But other than that, you can kind of do whatever for your outro, and then it's as easy as downloading it and then airdropping it to your computer and putting it in as its own picture, not like on top of a video clip, you know? But that is basically it for intros and outros. They're super simple and very customizable. The last couple of things I'm going to be talking about are like miscellaneous things. That's like my Instagram handle I have popping up, the watermark I have in like the bottom right screen, and like end screen. Starting with the end screen, it's super, super simple. All you need to do is open up your YouTube studio, and then you want to click on whatever video. Usually you do this as you're uploading your video, but for this example, I'm using it as if like I already uploaded it. You just want to go in and edit your video, and then if it's already uploaded to private or public or whatever, you just want to scroll to the right and hit end screen. And then I actually already have mine up on here, but from here, all you need to do is add in an end screen. You can go to the top left and hit add element. I add a video, and I usually just do the video best for viewer, and then you can also do like a playlist and a subscribe button. And then this little outro I didn't really do right, so I had to cover up the thing that said click me, and then you just hit save, and that is about it. The watermark is also on on your studio, all you need to do is go into your studio, and on the left, go to settings. Once you're in there, you just need to go down to channel and then go over to branding. And from there, you upload your own image. So I made mine using Canva. You could put whatever you want. Super, super easy and a lot less complicated than I thought it was. I didn't know it was like an actual YouTube setting. All right, so the last thing is how I get the Instagram at the beginning of my videos. I just use Fonto for this. All you want to do is first look up whatever social media you're using. So I just looked up Instagram PNG, and then I just found one that had a transparent background. So then you just go into Fonto, hit plain images, make sure you change it to 1280 by 720. And then like usual, I change it to green because we're basically going to be using it as a green screen. Then you want to add in your Instagram logo PNG and then put it down to your size. And then from there, you just add whatever your username is, and you can choose whatever font you want. And then once you size it down to kind of match, you just download that, save it, and then airdrop it to your computer. And then you just add it into your video, and that's about it. Super simple, and I like how it looks in the beginning of videos. You can add a sound effect if you want. I usually do like that golf swing I mentioned earlier. That one comes in iMovie. But other than that, it's as simple as that, and it looks super, super good in videos. All right, you guys, that is all I'm going to be talking about today. I know that was a lot. I know I was probably talking super, super fast, but I just had a lot to get through. I was trying to make the video not super long. Let's see how I did. If you did like this video, if you found it helpful or useful in any way, be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any more of my videos and fun editing techniques. I'm kidding. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.